after the really warm start to our week, we're starting to see a bit of change up started yesterday. Off and on showers started to make their way in. We'll continue to see that. We've also started seeing that cool weather come in as well. And it's going to be staying that way before we start to gradually warm as we head towards next week. And we're also going to see some drier conditions return for next week as well. But let's start with that satellite and radar because we do have some pretty heavy rain at times. Northern Minnesota, we have some good showers, some around Big Four going up towards International Falls. Right now, making its way to the international border along the North Shore. The heavier rain, though, right now is just off right around the Apostle Islands and making its way through the UP. That's where we're seeing some pretty good rain with some of these showers and storm. Behind it, overall pretty dry, though. We have some light showers, some sprinkles to keep a lookout for. And as we start to head later into today, even though it's going to be dry behind this initial band, by the time we get in the early afternoon, probably going to see more storms and showers develop, make their way in, and we're just going to continue to see off and on showers and storms all the way into the evening hours, where we're probably going to be seeing another little flare up of action. And guess what? As we go into Saturday, we're going to continue to see rain. The system is really slow moving, so it's not going to get out here in a hurry. That's just going to keep those rain chances going. And when it comes to those totals, when it comes to rainfall, we'll notice that probably a few tenths for many of us, though you do see some spots, especially northwest Wisconsin and South Highway 2, where we can probably see an inch or maybe even more in some local areas. And I don't think flash flooding is a main threat for this or a big concern, but it's something to keep a lookout for as we head through today and tomorrow. And now we're going to be looking at those winds because you probably felt it yesterday. The winds started picking up, and that's going to be the case for today as well. Sustained winds of 10 to 20 miles per hour. Strongest by Lake Superior, with the gusts getting 30 miles per hour, even more at times. And that's why, especially by Lake Superior, we're going to keep an eye on potential for some rip currents and some dangerous waves. That's why we have beach hazards in place and small craft advisory. So just be mindful of that. If you do plan on going by Lake Superior or even onto the waters as you get out for your Friday, we should start to calm down with the wind as we get into the weekend. And these winds and all these clouds of rain going to keep us cooler once again. And some of us got warm yesterday, especially in northwest Wisconsin. We still got some temperatures up into close to around 80 degrees. But a lot of us were cooler yesterday in northern Minnesota, and all of us are going to feel cooler today. Highs in the 60s, upper 50s, especially near Lake Superior. Once again to northwest Wisconsin, it'll be slightly warmer, but upper 60s, low 70s for those highs will be likely. And if you're looking at what we're looking for as we go through the weekend and the next week, notice it's just going to gradually start to warm on up for most of us. It's just going to be pretty nice overall, those conditions by next week. Slightly above the seasonal average, but it's going to be pretty comfortable. And that's going to be alongside some of the rain finally moving out. We can see some showers stick around even on Monday, but by the time we get into the middle of next week, we're going to be seeing the sunny conditions come out alongside with those temperatures being pretty pleasant. Again, probably 60s, lower 70s for the middle of this coming week. And as we start to head through the rest of September, we've been pretty warm overall over the last week or so. Generally, we had that cold snap at the beginning of September, but since then we've been mostly above average for most days. And it looks like on the 8 to 14 day outlook, so this is basically rounding off September, we're going to be staying a little bit on the warm side as well. So we're not really going to be expecting the real chilly side to fall until we at least get into October. And if you're looking here at your 7-day forecast, today's going to definitely feel cool though, especially with the winds and clouds. We'll be staying 50s, 60s for those highs, and it's going to be a bit rainy as well. But the rain's going to persist even into the weekend and beginning of next week before we start to dry out next week, and you see temperatures going to be pretty comfortable.